Hi, my name is Skylar Johnson, and today I'm going to be presenting about my internship at Integrated Refugee and Immigrant Services over the past month. So again, my name is Skylar, and I'll be attending the University of Southern California starting for this upcoming spring semester. So I'll be taking classes at Gateway for the fall to get in some gen eds. But I plan to major in international relations at USC's Dornsife College of Arts, Sciences, and Letters. And I hope to one day work at either an NGO organization or a humanitarian group. So IRIS is an organization that it's a nonprofit organization which provides a variety of services for all of their clients. And they serve refugees, asylum seekers, asylees, and other immigrant families. And the organization uses a strength-based assessment model to provide long-term support for successful integration into a new community. My site supervisor is the lovely Jen Vickery, and she works within the Press and Communications Department of IRIS, and she's been a great resource and guide ever since my application was first approved by the IRIS team. And she told me last night when I was finishing this up that she found IRIS in 2014 because Ashley McCarr volunteered for her own nonprofit, 108 Monkeys, and she was a cancer patient at the time, and a very young one, and wanted the Iliad to bring the healing power of yoga for herself and her IRIS clients. And 108 Monkeys bought free yoga to IRIS, and I learned, and she learned how amazing IRIS is from that experience. So last year in 2022, she started working at IRIS after retiring from high school, teaching high school. And so the reason I chose IRIS was because of their mission, because I really hope to one day work for a similar organization with a similar purpose and really strong impact. And then I also chose IRIS because I knew it would be a very positive experiential experience for me, because I knew I'd be exposed to a variety of stories, cultures, processes, and professions that are all located inside the office and within their network. And then I also knew that the experience would be very eye-opening, and I knew that the environment would be it would be a new environment where everything is directly correlated to world events, and you can really see the direct impact from just working in that space. And then finally, I also chose IRIS because it was very flexible, because the location and variety of tasks available to me was really a big help. The location really wasn't too far away for such a cool organization, and there was just a lot of different departments that I could choose to work with. And so the services that they provide include providing basic needs, case management services, healthcare, wellness support, employment assistance, English instruction, immigration legal services, education and youth services, and then they also have a program called Services for Undocumented Neighbors, and that's exclusively for undocumented immigrants. And so my initial expectations going into this were kind of mixed. I didn't really know what to expect, but I did initially apply for the reception and placement position within the community orientation division, and HR and volunteer coordination was also listed as my second choice, but I did let the team know that I'd be comfortable working really anywhere, and I really only knew that there would be a variety of new experiences, and that I was going to be happy to get involved with almost any of them. And especially, I was happy to put my work towards projects that were in need of extra staff or assistance. And so I was also thankfully correct about the kind and welcoming nature of all of the staff. I was really, with such a inclusive place, I was hoping to see a workplace that was very inclusive, and it was. So my responsibilities included streamlining communication. So I had a couple of tasks given to me that were to do with reworking the website, or the business cards, also reorganizing and ordering their phone system, and then also their Basecamp server, which is their main method of communication outside of email as a team. And then also I did a lot of data management for them. So I got a lot of demographics and also data from press releases that I organized into different spreadsheets just to help gather more demographics and just streamline everything again. And then I also did some work creating and advising the content that they produced. So I did a little bit of video editing, some market research, and I advised them on their social media presence and how they might be able to grow with certain marketing tools and things like that. And then I also helped out with some fundraising efforts, so locating and contacting potential sponsors from the immediate area, and then also areas where different affiliated groups are settled. So a few of my accomplishments were creating visuals and guides, as I kind of touched on. So like business-focused social media guides, I created like a really comprehensive document about that. And then I also included a picture of the phone system graphic that I made that was kind of to communicate the new system to all of the employees and make sure that it was clear and concise. And then I also did some transcribing work of different interviews and things like that. So this one I thought would be a really interesting story to include. It was about a refugee family that just newly arrived in the US, and they had a really, really crazy journey. So I included just a little clip of that. I can't load this audio right now. That's great. But it was basically a clip of the interpreter saying that the woman that was mainly speaking had to cross through basically like a whole jungle. They came from Venezuela, but they had to move up through a bunch of different countries to eventually get to the US, and they literally like had to walk through a jungle with like different gangs and rivers, and like there was the daughter that got lost in the river and she had to be pulled out by other people. So it was just a very touching and like shocking story, but it was very interesting to learn about. And then I also did a lot of organizing data, so digitizing all of the affiliates' business cards was a big project, and gathering client social media demographics. And so some main challenges and problems that I faced during my time, like although my experience was overwhelmingly positive, I think that the organization can get easily overwhelmed with a lot of demanding work in the like immediate moment based on those world events that I touched on before. Lots of data can get left behind if it's seen as less important. So it can get unorganized or just lost. So I think while I excel at tedious work and I did everything that was assigned to me, it was sometimes frustrating to be doing a lot of data entry stuff. But I suppose that it's taught me that important work that Iris, like companies that like Iris does, also comes with a lot of mundane, tedious tasks as well. So overall, I think the experience contributed to my intellectual growth and sense of responsibility through learning more about media bias and ignorance, and how that can impact how certain stories are communicated to the public and what people really care about. And then I also discovered the weight and potential of capturing public attention and like the overall weight that holds in funding new projects and really placing emphasis on certain causes. And I also learned to work with those of diverse age groups and backgrounds, because there was just so many different people in the office of so many different ethnicities, speaking so many different languages, different ages. So it was really definitely the most like diverse space I've worked in, and it was good to have exposure to all that. And then it also showed me professionalism and inclusivity in the workplace, because everyone is very inclusive. It's a very welcoming space, but it's also very professional there. And I got to really see how an organization of that size functions and operates. So I think that was just a really good experience for me overall in whatever I decide to go into next. And then I also got to explore several different careers that are represented by IRIS employees at different fields, because they have, as I mentioned before, like case management and housing, employment. So there's people that specialize in all those different things, like even attorneys that work there. So it was kind of cool to see how each of those functions in that sort of a space. And then I also learned that I prefer projects focusing on visual engagement. So I figured that that might lead an avenue to explore publications or graphic design in this particular field once I get my degree. And my immediate plans for the future include, for the summer, just working, skating, and also meditating. Iris graciously offered me multiple positions within their summer internship and volunteer programs, which I may very well accept. And I'm still committed to my major of choice. But yeah, so I think it would be a really great opportunity for me to continue to work with Iris or even just volunteer at their different programs because they have a lot of really cool opportunities. So that's pretty much where I stand with my immediate plans. And that's pretty much all. So do you guys have any questions?
Well, congratulations on being offered like opportunities afterwards, because obviously, like you said, that could create like great connections or inroads for future things you're going to do. So really nice job. Clearly you impressed them, so that's fantastic. You mentioned like obviously some days might be a little more mundane and have like a lot of data stuff going on, but could you tell us maybe about like one of the more like interesting or exciting days that you had while you were there?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of a lot of things. Like there was some days where I even got to go to their site where they have different like food pantry events and volunteer events like that, but it's mainly their food pantry. So I got to have a tour of that. I got to see all of the different foods that they get in and the organization that provides it, and then also all of the different like supplies and like toys and bedding and all of that that they give to different families that they're resettling. So it was really cool to see that on site, and there was even someone that was going to come by from NBC to do a story with one of the clients, and they ended up actually coming to the office and interviewing the executive director. So I didn't get a chance to see the whole interview go down, but it was really cool to get involved and like hands-on see like the different press stuff going on and like all the bigger stuff. So it was exciting in that regard.
Did you get a chance to like connect with like any of your clients like on a more like a deeper level, or like sit and listen in on some conversations that happened?
So I was mostly like I wasn't really working directly with a lot of the clients. I was more, organizing like data and stuff like after they had met, but I did get to listen to like a few like when I was mentioning transcribing. So I think that was pretty much my main experience with that, and it was all really interesting and inspiring. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed the bulk of your presentation. My question is, can you see yourself like having any connection with them going forward?
I think I definitely could. They seem to have like just a plethora of positions and opportunities, and even like sponsor groups and other affiliates. So I feel like I could definitely make like a lot of connections through them, and like it seems like it's gonna have a promising future as well. So yeah, I think it could definitely be a good resource for the future.
Awesome. Great.
Anything from Jonathan Law that you were able to like that you learned here that you were able to take with you to your internship, or even vice versa, like taking something for your internship and definitely knowing you're gonna be able to apply it, like connections that you made?
Just like proficiency in like history and all that was definitely helpful to kind of have like to have some idea of the landscape that they're dealing with. But then also I'm very comfortable with managing spreadsheets and like data and all that. Because of my work with AP Research this year, I had to do a lot of kind of like formatting data and presenting it. So I've gotten pretty comfortable with that and like just using Google Sheets in general. So that was definitely helpful too. Yeah, and then just like my knowledge with like the Google Suite, I think doing this internship also kind of showed me like the gap in knowledge between like the older generations and the newer ones, and like how much faster like I could do something just because I know more about like using Google products and stuff like that. So yeah, those were the main helpful things.